This episode is brought to you by SpruceOnTap.com. SpruceOnTap.com carries a variety of spruce tips, fir tips, juniper berries, and so much more for your brewing or culinary needs. SpruceOnTap.com provides the freshest products by harvesting them and immediately vacuum packaging and freezing them. Their products are never dried or dehydrated, ensuring that your order arrives tasting and smelling as fresh as the day they were harvested. SpruceOnTap.com ships out American-sourced, wild-harvested ingredients for people who celebrate craft beverages and the culinary arts. Listeners of our podcast can get 15% off your order of $25 or more when you use the promo code HHH at SpruceOnTap.com. Again, that's SpruceOnTap.com. Use promo code HHH and get 15% off any purchase of $25 or more. Thank you, SpruceOnTap.com, for supporting our podcast and better brewing. This episode is brought to you by Muntins Malts, a company that is passionate about providing premium malts to brewers worldwide. For over a century, Muntins has been a leading supplier of brewing and distilling malts, offering the finest British malted barley on the market. You can experience the difference Muntins offers by joining a recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club, because every kit that ships out now includes premium Muntins malt. You know, we've known the Muntins crew for a long time, and I can tell you, friend, you're going to love brewing with their grains. Ask your local supply shop to carry Muntins malts, or homebrewers can join our Trub Club at homebrewhappyhour.com/club, be a part of the community, and come brew with us. Thank you, Muntins, for supporting our efforts and homebrewers worldwide. Today's show is brought to you by Hopsterette.com. Grown in the esteemed Yakima Valley on the Peterball family farm, Hopsterette.com offers the widest variety of hops available online at incredibly competitive pricing. It's simple. They grow hops, they sell hops, and they ship hops straight from their family-owned farm to your doorstep. Producing the highest quality hops is Hopsterette.com's passion, and they're proud to be an independent grower in the craft beer industry. Go to Hopsterette.com right now and get what you need to make your brew day better. That's Hopsterette.com. Today's show is brought to you by Imperial Yeast. You hear us gushing over Imperial Yeast all the time, and that's because their yeast performs for us in every batch that we brew. Imperial Yeast is adored by commercial breweries and home brewers alike. Their pitch-right pouches are jam-packed with over 200 billion fresh yeast cells, guaranteed to deliver flawless, fast fermentations every time. Imperial Yeast strains are grown by a team of pro brewers and home brewers who live to help other brewers learn more and ferment better. Join any recipe receiving tier of our Trub Club and get a free upgrade to premium Imperial Yeast with every recipe kit that ships out to you. Learn more at homebrewhappyhour.com/club and come brew with us.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Troubleshooting a gas manifold, how to make a Drier Kolsch, and brewing with unusual ingredients. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 352. Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. And if you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com. You can click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or even better, I think, because you get yourself a $25 gift card, you call and leave a voicemail to 325-305-6107 right there on the screen. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Stubing, joined as always by my co-host. He is the Director of Operations at cmbecker.com down there, Mr. James Carlson, as well as the President and Chief Keg Washer and Grizzly Adams impersonator on the weekends, Mr. Todd Burns. Gentlemen, bienvenido.
Bienvenido.
Yeah, welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. You are really doing the So you're going antelope hunting soon, and I'm assuming that's why you haven't shaved.
Yep, that's right.
And that, like, let's hold on. Like, I wish I could purposefully target you on Zoom and put it up there without you talking, because when I go to full screen there, see, it's just me. But that's like 9 years of growth on your face, isn't it? When's the last time you shaved?
A week ago.
Oh, is that really a week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good. I always thought notoriously you were a slow grower. Facial hair, slow growth. That you it takes a while.
Yeah. Glad you clarified that. Yeah.
the 1-star reviews are raining in. No, I actually liked it. You had a beard 2 Christmases ago, or maybe it was right before COVID. One of the years, like, you kept a beard for 2 months or 3 months. I liked it.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Nobody else does, but I'm glad you do.
Your wife at dinner the Monday night was talking about, he's gonna look like you. Like, the way she said it was such disdain. She already has told me before how much she does not like bald people. and then she's like, his beard, he's gonna look like you. I'm like, Liz, this is kind of hurting my feelings.
Yeah, I know. She hurts my feelings too.
Frequently. Real quick, let's recap, because you were on last week, but you did a fishing trip. You went to Port O'Connor. I'm not familiar with that, except I know it's closer to Houston than the beach I go to, isn't it? Isn't it up north coast of Texas?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's so it's like the beach you used to go to is Galveston. And Galveston, sorry.
Corpus?
Port Aransas.
That's where I go, yeah.
Yeah, so Port O'Connor would be basically going towards Galveston.
Oh, okay. Good fishing?
It's not that, it's still 2 hours from Corpus. I mean, it's pretty good.
That's a good chunk of, good amount of time. And I get
very, very good. Well, I mean, yeah, it was great fishing. I have a photo here of the redfish I caught. Huh?
That's a great photo. Wow.
Yeah, I thought I sent it to you.
You did. I can put it on the screen at some point. I can go bing. And then, no, I'm not going to do that. 2 episodes in a row, I can't. Last week, by the way, guys, St. Elsewhere was the show, because I made the show uncomfortable, and I was like, yeah, was that soap opera, guys, where in the end it was all in the mind of an autistic kid? And I could tell, y'all, I made it uncomfortable. But I wasn't making that up. Like the premise of that show.
You made it uncomfortable. We just had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, you're right, because it definitely wasn't Dallas. I was
because
way
we've never seen it. So
I don't. You were watching Dallas when it was on air.
I never watched Dallas.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't stand Dallas.
Oh, but because you tried.
It's a soap opera.
Oh, well, I didn't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so I don't watch soap operas either. Those are whack. Anyway, but St. Elsewhere, and I injected it into the episode, and
I had never even heard of the show St. Elsewhere.
I didn't either. I'm telling you, it was like 2005. I'm watching VH1 in a condo that my wife and I lived in at the time, and it was like, I love the 70s or I love the 80s, and it was talking about this major plot twist of how the show ended. But either way, so I wasn't wrong. I wasn't making it up. But someone did say, you injected like a whole scene. Isn't that going to demonetize the channel or get a strike or something? We don't monetize the episodes on youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. And so far we haven't had a strike on it, so I haven't had to take it out. But if y'all didn't believe me last week, or actually, you would have had to believe me, because I injected it right then.
You've explained before why we don't monetize it. It has to do
I don't like monetizing our weekly episodes because we already have sponsors, and I don't want to do that to the listeners. But more importantly, I don't want to do that to the sponsors. They're
and the people in the Trub Club too.
Well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, if people are watching our how-tos on YouTube, we don't put this episode's brought to you by whatever, and then I'll monetize that through YouTube's because YouTube curates their ads, whatever, and I give them kind of guidelines.
Okay. All right. No, that's
Yeah,
plenty of detail. Yeah, thanks.
You regret asking. I can see it in your face. You regret it.
It always catches my ear when we're not monetizing something because we struggle with paying for everything, right? So,
that is true. Yeah, it was like, Josh, why don't you monetize things when we can? Because I'm trying to be a nice guy. With the episodes, and our YouTube numbers are so insignificant on the podcast episodes that it would be pennies anyway, Todd. Like the vast majority of people listen to our show through iTunes or Apple Podcasts. Pardon me, it's not iTunes anymore. Apple Podcast, Spotify. Spotify is actually picking up a lot. We have.
Has it really?
It has.
That's what I use. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I use Google Podcast until they just announced they're getting rid of it. So now I guess I'll switch back over to Pocket Cast. I don't know. Anyways, but let us know in the comments below, where do you listen to us at? How do you consume us? One person has before mentioned, you're always talking about your YouTube audience and calls to action for them. Are we chop liver? No, I'm just trying to build up a place that we're not established. We're great, or we could always be doing better. If you're on Apple Podcasts and you really want to do us a solid, go leave a review, an honest review, sure, because it's going to be 5 stars, right? Wink, wink. I don't think you can solicit 5-star reviews, but I'm asking you, if you think we're 5-star worthy, go leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That would help the show the most out if you're an audio only listener. Same with Spotify. They have a review system now too. You can go leave a review there. Any platform you're listening to us on and they have a review segment to it or feature, we'd greatly appreciate that. That helps a ton. And again, if you're at youtube.com/Homebrew Happy Hour, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, that helps us out a bunch. I have relevant small talk and some listener feedback before we get into today's show. We have...
Well, it's all the show, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I meant like the meat and the potatoes.
You mean the questions?
The questions, the real reason for the show, the questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have it on the screen. No, the Kolsch. Oh, well, I could go there. The Kolsch glassware has shipped out to all the monthly recipe receiving people and everybody else, the every other months, all the way down to the $5 tiers. You're getting it this month. When I come up there at the end of October to ship out October's recipe kits, you'll also be getting in the mail your Kolsch stange. I'm super happy with how they turned out. They're great. We'll probably order some more.
James, we were actually trying the Kolsch that I'm trying to finish up right now for the hunting trip, and I was using that glass, and Josh is like, wait a minute, we just have enough.
Yeah,
remember you were going to bring that one back, so whoever gets the glass I tasted out of, I just want to apologize now for that.
No, that's a feature. People pay for that kind of stuff. We're not at that status level yet, but like if we were reasonably good looking younger women, they'd put, and that was
not.
And yeah, you're right. No, we're not. But there's an audience for that. But yes, Todd's used glass is going to go to someone.
We are neither nor, right?
We are neither or. That's right.
Neither.
I'm just saying. You always correct when I say either. You say or either. You always correct me. It bothers me. Anyways, the Kolsch ones are going out this month with the the alt polka. Let me get to the monthly recipe kit. If you're an every other and this is your month, or you're an every month recipient of our recipe of the month at patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, you're getting the Trub Club Christmas beer. As you heard at the top of the show, for all this month, we're being sponsored by our friends at spruceontap.com and always sponsored by our friends at Muntins Malt, hopsdirect.com, and Imperial Yeast, all the companies that make it possible for us to get our delicious and premiumly curated recipe kits out to you. I'm extremely excited about this. It's really shaping up, and I don't want to go too deep into it, Todd, because the last question of the show, it kind of ties in with this, so I'll talk about the recipe more in the third question when we bring it up, because it's relevant and it's a good tie-in, and I don't want to be redundant, and I don't want to have to try to drag that question out even more when we get to it if I put it all out there right now. So I'll just say I'm very excited for us to be shipping out the Trub Club Christmas beer. And if you go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join a recipe receiving tier, there's a post that you're able to see. It's unlocked for you. When you're a monthly member, and monthly members already know to do this, go comment how you want your grains, unmilled, milled, or double milled. That way I have you on my spreadsheet because I'm shipping these out. We always do it the last Monday of the month, but this month I'm doing it a week early because we really want to get these in your hands so you can brew them quick or quicker and have them in time for Christmas. Todd really thinks if people get these brewed by early November, they'll be great and perfect for the Christmas holiday and New Year's Eve and all that. And same with our friends at Spruce on Tap. They said the same thing. They go, all of our clients, because they deal with commercial breweries frequently, they're all brewing this stuff like first week or second week November at the latest. It's ready for that holiday, that Yuletime season. So we are extremely excited. You can go to, again, patreon.com/homebrew happy hour, join a recipe receiving tier, join the community, come brew with us. We thank you all for your patronage and support of what we're doing. And then I accidentally clicked on this earlier, so I'll just end it with this. The Altpo call is coming up. We got 2 weeks, guys. Y'all are already receiving beer at headquarters. When I was up there Monday, Tuesday, I received a bunch, so it's flowing in. We did push it back, so the due date for the beer is actually a week from this Friday, which would be the 20th. And we're going to start judging. We did make actually another movement. I emailed everyone, but since it's we're talking about it now, I'll bring it up. We had the Todd's family had a loss in the family, and they're doing a service in the valley, not in the valley, in Corpus, but a far enough drive to, and it's going to be that weekend we were going to do Altpo calls. So instead of doing it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're now going to do it Wednesday, Thursday of that same week. So the beer would have already been, the beer is supposed to be to us by the Friday before anyway. So moving our judging and all that a couple days forward should not affect anyone unless someone now is going to reach out and go, no, well, my beer was going to be late. Well, we'll make it work. But anyways, we always accommodate for that. We didn't, we didn't want to push it back another week, and I'm already going to be up there shipping out recipe kits. So Todd, you were like, we can do it Wednesday, Thursday. Our buddy Wes, formerly of Teddy's Brew House, the brewmaster there, he's going to be helping us out as a judge as well. If you did,
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah, you weren't there Monday. I don't remember if I told you, James. That I remember telling you. I did. Okay, I thought I was in your office, I think, when I said, "Oh yeah, I got to make sure Wes is okay with the new dates." And spoiler, he is. So we're gonna have a good time on Wednesday.
I didn't even know he was good with the old dates. So yeah.
You don't listen when I talk, man. And if I don't document stuff in email, you're always like, no, you didn't tell me. And I can't prove you wrong because I'm really bad at documenting stuff. So anyway.
And you probably didn't tell me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. And again, this is a premium kit when I say it. And stay tuned for the third question because I'll go over some of it because the third question is about adjuncts and brewing with unusual ingredients. I'm confident y'all are going to love it, especially if you're a fan of this style, kind of spicy, piney Christmas ales. I think it's going to be right up your alley. So with all of that being said, it's time for listener feedback. We got a patch show. We've got 3 voicemails, including the listener feedback. We got 3 questions. We're starting it off. Listener feedback this week. It's our buddy Jeff from Iowa, and he called in about how he pressure ferments in a keg.
Hey guys, this is Jeff from Iowa. I was just listening to last week's episode, and I pressure ferment in a keg using your spunding valve and a floating dip tube for more beer, both very affordable. And when it's done, I put it in the teaser, pop the gas on it, let it sit for a week to clarify and finish carbing, and it's good to go. No issues. The only thing I would warn people is to make sure that the arrow is flowing the right way on that spunding valve when you get it, because mine was set up wrong and pressured all the way up to 30 psi, and when I went to relief pressure, it sprayed all over. So keep up the good work. Love you guys. Later.
James, you're no stranger to that.
Yeah, that happened the first time I used it. Same thing. Yeah, the arrow was, you could pay for, I used a black magic marker to highlight the arrow just so you can see it, because if you don't do that, it's hard to see.
That's a great idea. Because you're at the marker. Without the marker, pardon me, it would be very easy to let it go unnoticed.
Yeah, it's molded in the body, so you have to look at the body on the side to see the arrow.
I will say, too, one of the benefits of getting it from kegconnection.com, they come with those premium CM Becker disconnects as a standard. The same blow tie. Is it bow tie or blow tie? I always say blow tie.
I think it's blow tie.
Okay, you're right. Like a play off the word.
Yeah.
The blow tie, but most other people send it also with the duotite disconnects. But they'll notice after a while that those things might leak or they might have issues. I'm not to throw them under the bus. I'm just saying, though, they don't come by default with those premium CM Becker disconnects like they do at kegconnection.com. Enough infomercial stuff aside. That's great. More and more people, James, are in my inbox trying to convince me to all-in-one in a fermentation and serving from a keg, and I'm considering trying it, especially since I've been brewing just like really simple, straightforward beers lately. I could do a Kolsch in that, and worst case, it's not going to be a huge cake at the bottom anyways if it happened to not go as planned. But the one thing I would think would potentially hurt I might not be able to achieve the most clarification on the beer as if I did a transfer, right? Isn't that just objectively true? If it's drawing at all from a bottom that has the byproducts of fermentation on it, that's going to end up as I'm certain, right? It has to, right?
Yeah, a good idea is to cut half an inch off the dip tube so it's not down inside all that mess at the bottom.
Or the floating dip tube.
Or the floating dip tube would be even better.
That's what.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no, yeah. I would do the floating dip tube, but I'm saying I still think having the carbonation on and all. I mean, it would have to not be jostled like as if I was moving the keg, but it would have to be in there. The proteins can't truly all be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just worried.
Yeah.
I'm worried I'm going to serve from a keg and I'm still not going to have as clear a Kolsch as I would if I had just transferred.
Yeah. Yeah, it would make sense to do a secondary into another keg because it's super simple, just 2 liquid disconnects and about a foot of hose, and you can move it over like we talked about last week. You can even use a filter between the two and filter and transfer at the same time. So a lot of options.
A lot of options. But anyways, thank you, Jeff, so much for submitting that. We do have 3 questions. Before I get to that, it's a good reminder. You call it in, your question, your feedback. I play it on a future episode. You get $25 of Todd's money, good for kegconnection.com. I'm pretty instantaneous too. I've been on it lately. I get the voicemail, I laugh, or I go, that's a good question. I download it. I text them real quick. Hey, congratulations. I'm on it. You get his money quick. And I know that because some of these people have been spending their money before we ever published the episode. I'm like, dang, that was quick. Our first question of the week is a voicemail. It's our buddy Gary from Louisiana.
Hey guys, Gary in Louisiana here. Recently got a Keezer gifted to me by a good friend, and the Keezer has a Keg Connection 4-way manifold supplying the gas. Up until last week, lines 1 through 4 worked just fine. As of this morning, lines 1 and 2 are the only ones working. Sort of perplexed here and just wondering what would be the best course of action if those lines can get plugged, or how to unplug them maybe, or should I just get a new manifold from you guys? Let me know what you think. Also, thanks so much for the welcome packet. I'm wearing the t-shirt right now, so everything's great. Thanks again, guys. Bye.
Gary is a new member of our Trub Club. That's my plug for patreon.com/homebrew happy hour. But we have the best welcome packs. I'm sorry. I've been to other people's Patreons. They don't treat their club members like we do. But anyways, Gary, thanks for calling it in. He has friends, Todd, who give him a Keezer, and I have a boss who de-gifted a Keezer. We're almost the same. We're a kegerator, not really.
I'll give you one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you took it back. And actually, the guy who gave one to you is in your office right now. He's actually up
He
there
is.
right
He
now.
is. The guy is actually Guy.
The guy is Guy.
That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And he didn't have
He did
headphones.
give me a Keezer.
He did. He gave you one. Anyways,
Actually, he gave me a kegerator.
yeah, I know.
Keezer.
I corrected myself. I don't have a boss who gave me a teaser and took it back. I have a boss who offered me a kegerator and then immediately de-offered it or unoffered it. But Gary's question, I'm going to throw it to you first, Mr. Burns, because you've built the manifolds. You're actually the one who micromanaged when we redid all the marketing on it in regards to the true glue, the whole testing process we do. It's very much a baby of yours. This project of getting them out and they're sealed and they're tested and all this. What could be causing Gary's issues where 4 are working? And this is on the gas side. It's not like, oh yeah, a hop got up in there and clogged it. I don't think. Have you ever had anything like this happen, and how would you troubleshoot it?
So I'm pretty sure the ball is stuck. The ball and the spring got intertwined and stuck. Is a possibility, or it's just stuck and it needs. What I would try to do first is take air off and blow it the opposite direction, the way it's not supposed to go, and see if you can get that loose. If you can't get that loose, I would suggest you contact help@kegconnection.com. Even though you didn't buy it from us, that certainly shouldn't happen. Years ago, we had some problems with some valves that were doing that, and that might be one of them, where we had a couple of valves that were doing that. It's I'm pretty sure you can fix it by just doing it, by just shooting it out, pushing it the opposite direction. It probably didn't get used for a really, really long time, and then the ball stuck, and you just need to get the ball unstuck.
And
I should mention, when I say ball, and so it's a check valve, so it's got a spring that basically pushes it into. If you try to go the opposite direction, it basically pushes it in so that it can't flow, and it's just stuck. So
yeah, and when you said help, you didn't tell him that's me, and I'm just going to forward it to you. And,
usually,
yeah,
it's usually. I mean, sometimes I check it.
That is true. It's both
when you go on vacation
all the time. I vacation like a German. It's Strudelfest. I'm out for a week. So here's a question that I'm going to use to drag it out, but it would be helpful to people who are watching. We always talk about maintenance on the liquid side. Clean your lines, soak your faucets, all this. We hardly ever talk about if and when any maintenance on the gas side is necessary. Do you have any standard routine, even if it's annual? Like, yes, I grease the regulator, I hose the line. I mean, is there anything on the gas side that people should be doing or could be doing to prolong the life of their gas side equipment?
I can't.
No?
I mean, on the regulator, you might have to rebuild the regulator every once in a while, but that should be 5 years not really.
Oh, good. Well, that makes it easier for people like me, because I don't clear the beer lines.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have done it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, I promise I wasn't just trying to drag it out. I really, as you were talking about blowing it the other way, because I've seen you do that before. I mean, you've troubleshoot regular manifold bodies there, and Vilver does it all the time, right, for testing. And I've thought like, oh, I wonder if there is maintenance, like those balls are they prone to sticking if you don't clean them frequently? But it's just air going through there, right? So it's not like anything that should be deteriorating them.
Yeah, no, I don't ever do any maintenance on the gas side.
Yeah. Besides and even then on the regulator, I have a CM Becker regulator now, and worst case, I'll have to replace the disc. I mean, worst case is I could strip it like the nut or whatever and have to replace that. But I just mean the worst case for me, I think, would be losing the disc washer that goes between the nipple, the stem, and the actual valve. Probably that's the worst case. We actually have a video coming out, not for the CM Becker one, but for the Taproot one. Todd and I, the last time I was up there and you weren't gone, filmed some short videos. One of them being how to replace the flat seal on a Taproot regulator. I think that one, Todd, is more common for any brand of regulator, right? In regards to something that goes out
Golly, we did that a long time ago.
2.5 weeks ago. Yeah.
Was it? That's all?
Mm-hmm.
I could have sworn it was longer.
No, because 2.5 or I'll round up 3 weeks ago. Because then right. And then I just published the Topo Chico one at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. How to make your Topo Chico. I don't know if you saw.
Oh, I got a compliment from Lorena on that.
Did you really?
Yeah, she said it was a really good video. I haven't even watched it, but yeah.
She never compliments me when I'm the star of the videos. James, has she ever complimented you when you're the star? She doesn't.
Nope.
She doesn't. It's just it's always Todd. It's Todd. Marsha. James, on this question with the 4-way, I mean, I know you're on the regulator side, you've got it down. Can you think of anything different that Todd said, or does that sound about right? Like, it's the ball.
Yeah, Todd's the expert on that. So yeah, definitely.
I would agree with that, and I can't think of any other way to drag it out. So I'm just going to wrap it up. Gary, thank you so much for submitting that question. If you have had similar issues and you're watching this or you're listening to this, call and leave some feedback on what you would do. Or maybe you go, you know what, Todd? Yeah, you might be the expert, but here's what I do for maintenance and blah, 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 blah. Call it in, leave a voicemail. If I use it, you get yourself a $25 gift card. Or if you're watching this, leave it as a comment at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour. That helps our algorithm. I don't think I've said that enough. Algorithm. So all of that being said, we've got a second question for today. This one was a text message, which still gets you a $15 gift card to Keg Connection, which I think is pretty good. It's from our buddy George from Arizona, and he wrote, "Hi, Josh. We met at HomebrewCon. This is George from Tempe. Thank you all for taking the time to answer my questions at the booth and take photos. I have a question about how to make a beer more dry. Is it mostly achieved via yeast? I brewed a Kolsch, finally I know, and it turned out sweeter than I like. I brewed the recipe you emailed me. What should I tweak to make it finish drier? Thanks again for helping me every time I've reached out. George, of course, it's what we're here for." I don't know if y'all remember George, little white guy, kind of walked like this. That describes everyone at HomebrewCon. No, I'm kidding. But we actually were blessed with a ton of people coming to the booth when we were there or seeing us on the resort grounds. I don't know how many photos we took, James. Hundreds of photos.
It was fun.
It was so much fun. And to his question, though, brewing the Kolsch I sent him, what would you say, James, is the factors for the easiest way to take a recipe, not having to tweak it necessarily unless you think you should, and make that same recipe drier? Man, I like that I'm using 9 pounds of Pilsen and 1 of Caravien, and I'm gonna, do the Hallertau middle brew at 1 ounce at 60 minutes. I'd like to keep that recipe, but I just want it to come out drier. What are the steps of doing that?
Well, I would need to know a little more information on his batch to answer that question. First of all, what was his starting gravity? What was his final gravity? Did he kill the fermentation early out of impatience, or is it all grain or is it extract? If it's extract, the only thing you can do is you can use a enzyme that breaks it down to simple sugars, but then that's going to probably turn out a lot drier than he wants. If he's doing an all grain, you just mash in the beta range and make sure that you oxygenate your wort before you pitch your yeast. In other words, splash it real good before you pitch it. Make sure you pitch good, viable yeast. We know he did because all of our yeast is about as fresh as you can get on those kits. So you can do it with a couple of ways. You can do it mashing in the beta range, or you can do it with using an enzyme to break down all the sugars into highly fermentable sugars, but it'll turn it basically into hop water. So there's a lot of things. It could be, we've had times in the past where the yeast wasn't as viable. We know that's not an issue here because we get fresh yeast literally the week that we send the packets out.
Oh yeah. That's great. So, oh yeah.
That's usually not an option, but it can be an option down the road if you're brewing with something else that maybe doesn't have the cell numbers that it needs. So there's lag time. And then stuck fermentations can occur, which will end up sweet, but it'll be cloyingly sweet. So it'll be hard to drink if it's super. In other words, if it's at 1018 to 1020 and it started at 1050, and it won't go below that, then you've got a stuck fermentation, and you got something that's probably not even able to you're not even able to drink because it's just too sweet.
And when you're talking about the beta range, so 152 is
about 145 is if I'm going to be in the beta range.
I'm saying 152 is like bottom alpha, right? I mean, it's like top, like, so it doesn't have to be super drastic.
That's actually more in the alpha range than it is in the beta range.
Right.
If you want to split the difference, you could do 150.
No, right. I'm saying that's the standard that we put on the PDF is 152, and I'm saying it doesn't. Does it have to be as drastic as go all the way to 45, or could he go to 148, and probably get it drier than? I mean, how many degrees do you think in your recommendation?
I think for a good solid beta range fermentation, you don't want to go over 148. You can kind of, I guess, so to speak, cross the streams on alpha and beta at 150. So I would just try, if it's all grain, just try mashing at a lower temperature and see what that does for you. Now,
that also will affect the body too, but a style like Kolsch.
Dry beer is light bodied beer,
right? Which again, though, that's the style for Kolsch. It's not. It's not known for its heavy body. Now, Todd, you have the last 2 batches of Kolsch you've done. You had to stop it because it was still chugging and it got down to like 10:07 or 10:06. Do you remember?
I just looked it up on my phone here. My last batch finished at 1.007.
And you stopped it at that because I
stopped it a little higher than that, but I lowered the temperature a little higher than that, but it still kept going. It says the attenuation on it was 85%.
And you used Imperial Dieter, right? That I'd had upstairs.
Yeah, but now the only question I had on this, he says he got the recipe from you. Does he mean he got the written recipe or the physical recipe?
Well, James was plugging the Chub Club. I wasn't going to interrupt him. Yeah, he didn't brew our kit. I emailed him the PDF after HomebrewCon. So you're right, James. There are factors that we could follow up on that would help you really pinpoint. If this is what you're doing, here's what I would say can change to make it drier. But the points that James put out there are universal. Mashing the beta.
I was just curious if you got it from us. The other thing too is sometimes people get a recipe from us and then they don't brew it for a couple of months.
That's very true. Yeah,
and that could definitely affect it. But I would say that another thing that you might try if you're not able to get it down, I will say I usually brew about 152, but when I brew a Kolsch, I always do it at a lower temperature. So I think I did it right around that 148. Actually, one of my pumps broke and 20,000 other things happened that day. It was a terrible brew day, and I think I went to like 140 and then 140. So I did an accidental step mash on that. But the highest I got it up to, I think, was 148 until the very end when I, of course, brought it up before the sparge. But I think I've had a lot of beers go below 10, even at 152. But one of the things I find that really helps me personally is and I'm really anxious for Owen to be on so we can ask him about this, but I tend to start at a little higher temperature. So let's say that, this one was totally accidental because I don't know if y'all remember, but my, I ran out of, I couldn't get it cold enough. So, I pitched the yeast at 75 degrees.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, but I lowered the temperature using my glycol chiller pretty quickly, so it wasn't there very long. It certainly wasn't there, but it certainly didn't start bubbling before I lowered the temperature. But when I start out, I typically will go to the high end on that particular yeast. I believe the high end is 69.
Yeah,
and low end is 61, but I might be off a degree or two. So what I try to do is start it at the high end, and then when I start seeing some action, I'll start to go more towards the middle or the low end instead of trying to start at the low end where sometimes you just don't get a good start. And if you don't get a good start, sometimes it peters out. The other thing I like to do is I will. I have that in a big fermenter, but you could fermenter, but you can do the same thing in a bucket. I agitate it like once a day, not hard, but just I'll rock it a little bit, like once a day, and it'll start boop, 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 and bubbling again real fast. But I just like to keep things moving around a little bit, so that seems to have always helped get down to that lower final gravity.
That last part could be a clip from your book memoir of working with me. I agitate them a little bit every day, just a little bit, just poke till I get to where I want it. As you said it, I was thinking the step mash, James. That would be a way of the best of both worlds if you were trying to blend, right? Step mashing would be a way to achieve it, where you'd start at 148 and then or 146, and then maybe finish at 150, 152, and that would get the beta out there for the dryness, and then at the finish on the other end so that it's not super dry. But I was just, as I was saying that, I was thinking of how to segue to Todd's beer finished at so low. But when I tasted it, Todd, it wasn't like super dry. It wasn't.
It's still got that.
It still got some sweetness.
You
to
need
it.
some sweetness.
But I'm saying, how did that happen with yours? For like, was it that much higher of a starting gravity? I don't understand how yours finishes so low and it's still like, no, there's still some sweetness to it. It's not.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty dry. I mean, it's pretty dry, but a Kolsch is going to have some sweetness to it. I don't like a super sweet Kolsch, and there are some super sweet Kolsches out there. Even
in Fredericksburg,
even in Cologne, there's definitely. But even in Cologne, there's some Kolsches that are noticeably sweeter than others, and I tend to gravitate towards the drier ones. But the one I made is pretty dry. I mean, it would be on the very dry end in Cologne.
Yeah, I would say, if y'all remember at Kolsch Cup, I think most of those were pretty neutral. I mean, none of them, I don't remember any that were over, like, punch in the face sweet. I don't remember any that were missing it too much. Like, everyone pretty much nailed it. Do you think, Jane, like, if you're going, I actually, on the Grainfather, the first time I did a Kolsch, which was like New Year's Day 2021 or 2021, I think, was the first time I got the machine, or maybe it was 2022. Either way, the machine told me, James, oh, for this style, yeah, we're doing 150. And I was like, oh, I've always done 152, but you know what? The machine knows better. I'm going to let the machine do it. And I've always just been doing at 150 ever since. It's kind of made a balanced Kolsch. And that's all I ever want for my beers, is to be balanced. Do you think for a style like a hybrid ale like that, or your Pilsners, even when you're going for balanced and nothing that's gonna punch you in the face of sweetness or whatever, is 150 a sweet point for people to just experiment with and probably get best results?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will do, a lot of brewers mash at 150 because it's kind of the best of both worlds. I like a little drier beer, so if I'm doing a Pilsner, I'm strictly in the beta. I'll do a mash out, and the time it takes to get from 145 or 148 all the way up to 169, you get a little alpha out of that, just because that ramp up from in the 140s to the high 160s takes time. And if there's any left, any sugar left in the malt when it's doing that temperature transition, you're going to get a little bit of alpha there, and that can create a little body for you. But I like the beta range. I like the drier beers. And that's my opinion.
And you don't step mash anymore either, correct?
Those highly modified malts is really just not needed. They're ready to go out the gate.
You've told me that, and you've told me that on this show before. You're like, the step mashing is kind of pageantry at this point with the grains we're using that are highly modified and whatnot. That's interesting. That's convenient. I like that. People.
It makes it a lot easier to brew, and then you don't have to be worried about the minutia, so to speak, of temperatures. But temperature is extremely important, especially if you're using old world grain and old world malt that's not modified. Then you have to do those steps, because you got to get the starch inside that kernel to transition to creating sugar. And the only way you can do that is to modify that in temperature increments.
Yeah.
But we don't have to worry about that with the malt that's coming out now.
Thank God. Anything to make my brew day easier, I'm for it.
Yep.
George, thank you for submitting that. And again, if you want to text me, because he texted me the question, any of the details, I'll forward it over to James and Todd and get the hive mind on this of like what you specifically could have done during your brew day that did get it to be a little sweeter, what yeast you pitched. Like James said, there's a lot of factors that can contribute to it, but we covered it blanketly. And if you, listener at home or viewer at youtube.com/homebrew happy hour, if you have anything to say, leave us a comment on our voicemail hotline, 325-305-6107. And if I use it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card. Or use that same hotline, leave a question, I take it on a future episode. You also get yourself a $25 gift card, like our final question of the day. He knows that I'm going to play 99% of the voicemails he leaves, and gosh darn it, he left another one. It's our buddy Marty from Omaha.
Hi, Josh and crew. It's Marty from Omaha, Nebraska. I think you asked during my last call what my state motto might be. It used to be Nebraska, the good life, but now they've changed it to Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone. I know, that's a bit weird, but that's really what it is. No joke. My question to you guys this time is, have you ever used any unusual ingredients in your beer? I love beer-flavored beer, and I don't do a lot of adjuncts in my beer. But every summer I make a creamsicle Kolsch, which is made with oranges and vanilla. And the oranges, I grow them on a little tree that's like a mandarin orange tree. And I also do a jalapeno ale, which I grow those too, during summer. But for Christmas, I do a beer called Old Curmudgeon that contains grapes and English treacle, which is like molasses. I also soak French oak spirals in that beer to give it a barrel-aged flavor. Just wondered if you guys did anything unusual ever. Love your show. Josh is great. I'm impressed how many people across the globe listen to it, you guys. Take care. Bye.
Dozens of people, Marty, are entertained weekly. Dozens. Tens of people. At one time I had to show Todd, I think, the audio numbers. People asked every now and then, like, about the podcast or whatever. I was like, I swear the numbers are real. It's dozens. First off, let's start here. Orange creamsicle Kolsch. No, that's just an orange creamsicle ale, my friend. That's not a Kolsch. That cannot be a Kolsch. How dare you? But the reason why I was saving the talk about where's the Christmas beer slide? There it is. The Christmas beer stuff, Todd, for this question is because this might be the most eclectic recipe we've ever done for the Trub Club. We've done the Sierra Nevada Christmas beer, but I don't remember sending out these adjuncts like we are with this one, James. We're sending out so this kit, I'll have it up on Brewer's Friend. This is one of the months I forgot to do it as we were finalizing the recipe and whatnot, or finalizing like our recipe selection of what we're doing every month. But this has spruce tips that are going to be a part of the end of the boil, and then dry hopping. This has cinnamon sticks. Todd, what else did you include in here? I don't want to speak out of turn because I know in your office you had ginger root at one point on the table. I don't know everything that is being thrown in here, but it is a very eclectic recipe.
Yeah. I was going to log into Brewer's Friend because I don't even remember now, but
it's so much.
It is, okay. I do remember it's bitter orange peel, ginger, which is it's not fresh ginger. It's a dried ginger. Shoot, hang on. Let me look real quick in this box. Magical box. Oh yeah, I think you already mentioned cinnamon.
I did.
And then the spruce tips. And I'm having that recipe reviewed right now to make sure that it's acceptable to Lorena, sorry. And we'll see what she says, but I think it's going to be. I think it's a good recipe. I just want to make sure, since we have not done that a lot, that I'm not overdoing any particular ingredient or even underdoing it. So, but I do know that those ingredients are used a lot in Christmas sales, and I believe that that we should get something that Anchor would have been proud to have brewed one year, since they changed their recipe like 40 times.
Right. Well, so the good thing about this recipe, Todd, no one can say you're wrong. They can't. Like we can say, no, this was Anchor's 1994 release, guys. This is what it was based off. They have no idea.
No, it's not. It's their
2023.
It's their 2023 release.
Yeah,
this is what it would have been,
as seen on the artwork there. That you were like, when I sent it to you, I think you thought I drew it at first to go, what is the
the Christmas bush.
Yeah, you told me 2018 was your favorite one that you can remember of theirs, so I took the label from the 2018 and photoshopped it. It was a gift for you, and you just pooped on it. You pooped on my efforts.
Yeah, I never liked the label. The beer was great, though.
My point of tying this back in with Marty's question is that, James, before this month's recipe kit, the weirdest thing I've done is use Mount Hood instead of Mittelfrew in my Kolsch. When you were in the Duster Brewhouse days of brewing collectively, where more people had input, and you may have been even a hophead, did you have any adjuncts that today you cringe at, or maybe think, you know what, that actually turned out good?
Only one thing I can think of. We were making a chocolate stout, and I had went into town to get something. I don't remember what it was, and I was mashing. And I was a bull. I was doing the bull. So I had finished mashing. I collected all my wort, and I was starting the bull. I ran into town. I think I had to pick up my daughter. Anyway, I came back, and as I'm walking in the door, I see one of our brew buddies put a whole thing of Hershey's cocoa in the boil, just literally one of those little small tins.
What?
Dumped the whole thing in a 5-gallon batch, and I was like, man,
why in the boil?
Yeah, I guess he thought the chocolate would make it more chocolatey.
But in the that's fantastic.
Never got to taste it.
You refused
we
to?
did 2 batches. We did 2 5-gallon batches. We did one with the cocoa, and I was like, "That's yours. You can take it home." And I did one without the cocoa. The one without the cocoa, of course, I didn't try the other one. It had a really good. Everybody liked it because we did it for a grand opening of a little store that was a little trinket store that was opening up in De Leon.
Oh, okay.
And everybody liked it. So
yeah, I was going to say, I guess, Todd, I could say the weirdest thing. I have used Folgers before. You would think that that's pretty awful and terrifying, but you were telling me, and people, I'm bringing it up because then people might correct you, and that would be great for the comments. You told me at one point in American history, Todd, spruce was actually used as a substitution for hops in general. Is that, you stand by that claim?
Yeah, I mean, not just spruce, but a lot of different things were used as substitutes because they didn't have hops. So, I mean, you just have to have something that, I mean, beer is sweet. All beer is sweet. And you have to counter the sweetness with something. So anything that would bitter it would help counter the sweetness.
When you're going to add,
it's kind of like my wife. She's very sweet.
I got you, and you're the counter.
I have to counter with my bitterness.
Yeah. Like some people say that about us. You know, like I'm good cop and you're bad cop. And I'm joking, but I'm not. When I need stuff done with a vendor or something, I'm like, Todd, can you please reach out because they're not respecting me. You know, I had to get a lot of input from y'all because we were making the recipe. I tried to be involved in it, but this was one, Todd, that had stumped my brain about, hey, we have these spruce tips. We know what they're going to produce, but when would be the best time to add it? We actually ended up reaching out to Randy over at Spruce on Tap because this is their thing. And he had suggested we're going to send out 4 ounces of spruce tips with every 5-gallon recipe kit. And he suggested, you maybe do 2 ounce at 15 left in the boil, or even flame out if you wanted, but 15 is what I think we're doing. And then 2 for dry hop after primary is done, and do it for like 5 days. That's going to probably make a pretty piney tasting beer on top of the Chinook and Cascade hop additions that we're going to be using. So with this specific recipe, we're going for piney Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that it's the I mean, it's the recipe. I love that beer. I always liked that beer, and I'm going to miss it. And I wanted to try to create something that was in that. What's the word I'm looking for? In that, not that venue, and that. Come on, English major, help me out here.
English major dropout.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I know. I know what you're saying. You're saying like in the same vein of
not venue.
Yeah,
vein.
The same vein as all of those. No, I agree. I think I'm on board for it because your house is actually the only place I ever had the Anchor Christmas beer. I remember last year I tried to get it for us, and that was the first sign we knew something was up, when no liquor store in Austin was carrying it.
So no liquor store. I checked a bunch of places. Nobody had anything but the bomber.
Yep, exactly.
They always made a bomber of it. Nobody had 6-packs of it.
Nobody, and that was the first kind of red flag for us. Like, what's going on with Anchor?
Well, I'm very. I hope it turns out well. I think that it will. I will verify the final recipe, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it's
going to be good. But anyways, this is also another question where I solicit your feedback in the comments or on our hotline, because what's the weirdest thing you've brewed with? And if I get spammed with a bunch of, well, I did a sour pickle Kolsch, Josh, I'm not playing that on a future episode. I'm not. One year, what did we get? The first Kolsch Cup, didn't we get 2 or 3 entries, James, that were absolutely not Kolsch at all? And I think they were trolling me.
We had one. It was a sour.
That was the first year, wasn't it? And it was a sour, and on purpose too. They did it on purpose. And we had to taste it because they didn't say sour Kolsch, but both bottles were that way. And and then we also had one who did a different. I forget, one that actually tasted real good, and y'all would have scored it high, except that you're like, it's just not a Kolsch. That's why we can't.
It was a good ale, but it wasn't a Kolsch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we get for the multiple call, James, because you have been the loudest person I know on the subject of brewing a Kolsch or brewing an alt being so fickle, like that. You're like, it is so easy to mess up. And how many people who have entered it have told me, I don't even know what alt tastes like. I was just following a recipe. So we might be in for a real roller coaster of facial expressions in our taste buds, because like there are people sending it in who are like, I don't know if that's what alt's supposed to taste like. Here, y'all tell me. It's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, that Fredericksburg brewery that I'm not naming, I'm sure they're nice people, don't hate us, but remember they renamed their alt to just Amber, and I think it's because they may have been called out enough by people or their peers, like, this is not an alt. Like, calling it an Amber, sure, that's a much broader spectrum for entry, but this is not an alt, and they did. And I really think that Karbach, even though they got bought out by InBev, they changed their Love Street, I think, before the purchase from Kolsch to just blonde. And I think as well, because it was not quite really a Kolsch. It was the color of Kolsch, sure, but nothing else about it said Kolsch. But these German hybrid styles, man, we love them, but they can be fickle, right? They can be fickle.
Oh yeah. Just the problem is if you actually go where it was invented and served to this day in Dusseldorf, that's kind of what you want, and to try to recreate that can be difficult. So I've had to, a long time ago, realize that I'm not ever going to make it taste just like Dusseldorf, but if I can get close, I'll be happy with it.
Your blonde alt was the closest to Schlussel I think you've ever made. I thought
Blondus.
The blondest alt.
Blondus.
If you just do that,
I would agree. The color was off, but as far as the flavor of the body and the sweetness and all of that, I think I'd hit all those numbers. And I've come real close in time since. I didn't think the one that we took to Homebrew Con, I overhopped just a little bit.
I loved it. I mean,
I think if it would have been little under hopped a little bit, it had been hopped a little less bittering hops, I think it would have turned out really good.
I actually forget. Todd, did we end up having any to bring back? I don't think we did.
The Kolsch?
Yeah, no, the alt, his alt.
Oh,
yeah, we did the alt.
Yeah, we did both.
Did you
Kolsch and alt?
Did you have it on tap?
Yep.
Did I drink it all? I just don't remember it being on tap. Todd actually chastised me.
I don't keep track of what you
drink. But you keep track of the Tanqueray that's on the counter. Your friends do.
Well, that's for you. Yeah, but I just noticed that You're the only one drinking it, and it's like a half gallon, and
My face is the color of my sweatshirt. Now I'm going to wrap up the show. Marty, thank you for submitting the question. Final reminder, guys, that when you send a voicemail to 325-305-6107 and I take it on a future episode, you get yourself a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. Gentlemen, that's all I have for this week. I greatly appreciate y'all's time. Todd, you're not going to be on next week. That's right. James, you're good, right? You're good. Mm-hmm. Cool.
I might make a surprise appearance. You never know.
Or is it Wyoming that you're going to?
Yes.
From the mountains of Wyoming, Todd Burns. Yeah. You're gonna have your new phone. Maybe. Oh, you don't do Starlink on internet though. Like, there's no portable version of that. You do Starlink at home, but you can't take that to go. So you might not have internet.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. You're not going to do it. James, you and I will do next week's episode. We don't need him. But thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'll catch you later.
Thanks.
And
Bye-bye.
That will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page. Or even better, have I said it enough this episode that you can leave a voicemail to 325-305-6107, and I can use it on a future episode, and then I can give you some of Todd's money in the form of a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com. It really is pretty freaking simple. Thank you to our show sponsors like spruceontap.com. Check out their website at spruceontap.com and use our promo code HHH to save 15% off your order of $25 or more. Also, thank you to Muntons Malt, premium grains for a better brew day. If you aren't already brewing with Muntons, give them a try by joining our Trub Club at a recipe receiving level. For the best hops available online, give our friends at hopsdirect.com a visit and pick up what you need for your next brew day. Also, get a pack of premium imperial yeast along with our delicious recipes when you join the Trub Club. Go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour and come brew with us. On behalf of Todd Burns, James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thanks for listening.